I didn't say anything.
Shut up, Captain.
Hi, we're the Useless Gamers.
Okay,
I'm your
shutting up,
Captain
Captain.
Dice. Shut the fuck up! Oh my fucking god. We're the Useless Gamers, and that piece of shit is Tumult. Say hi, Tumult, because you can't shut the fuck up. Who's now not gonna say
I'm nice and tight.
And we have...
You told us to
Do you
shut
want
up,
us to talk,
Dice.
or do you want us not to talk?
Yeah, you're sending mixed messages.
Hey, what's up? My name is Dice. I am the captain of the Useless Gamers, and with me today, I have my Useless Gamers. We have with us Chiko. What's up, man?
Yo, what's going on?
We've got Sam, 706.
And it's still Sam.
Still, SolidGobi, our
Still.
brand new guest. Wait.
Hello.
And we've got Tumult, who can talk
Hello.
now.
Hello.
To the point. That's what we're all about.
That's
Yeah.
what we're all about. So
Talking about games.
we're talking. We're talking today about Diablo, and everything that's going on with it, everything that's new. So Chiko, Tumult, and Gobi have had some experience with this game. They've played it before. I've not played it. Sam's never even touched it or looked at something. The goal today is to get Sam to want to play this game.
But we should also include that in this podcast, we're going to be talking about specifically the new loot system, Loot 2.0, that came out for Diablo 3 just recently, and this big patch, 2.0 patch for Diablo 3 that's changed a lot of what is going on in the game and how a lot of the game mechanics work. And it's really changed gameplay. I mean, the core gameplay is still there, but it's really changed everything up. So, I mean, I think we all know what Diablo is, but, you know,
It is
specifically...
the most materialistic game on the planet. If you
It's
want to
all
talk
about
about what's
what?
deteriorating society and
that is true.
consumerism, it is Diablo 3.
Man,
Let's
let's
not-
not about that.
And it's all about the
to
loot,
another
man.
level.
It's
Yeah.
all
Not
about
even
the epic
mince words
loot.
here.
Make money and be friendly.
Make
That's
money,
like basically
get
what this game's
bitches.
about.
That is what Diablo is about.
So you're saying it beats out Borderlands 2?
Oh god.
I'm sorry, I don't play trash.
Whoa!
Oh,
This
shots
coming
fired.
from the man who plays
second that
Diablo
statement.
3.
This coming from the man that plays shitty Eastern JRPGs for most of my life.
Ragnarok.
Oh,
Okay.
don't even. Are we doing that now?
Let-
Yeah, and I just got a freaking spike to the chest. Thank you, Chico.
I mean,
Also,
I
we
played it with
neglected to also to say while we're doing this podcast, the three gamers are playing, so they can actively show us why this, like, what's changed in this game, what's so good about it, and why we should give a shit.
I think the main thing I want to highlight is that I'm playing it. That's I think the main difference between
main-
me
Yeah,
and
that's
like
actually where something
They're
we're going to hit
actually
on.
playing it. They actually
Yeah.
can. All right, fair enough. So let's start with the old version before. Like what was so good about the old version? The first version that came out, it was September 2000, or was it May? It was September 2013. So what was so
Let
damn
me
good
spin you
about
a
that?
yarn, Dice. Let me spin you a yarn.
spin me
We've
a
been waiting
tale.
for this game.
Yeah.
People have been waiting for this game, and Blizzard, in its natural Blizzard fashion that we've come to know and hate and love and still give our money. This game was delayed X
Regardless.
amount of times, and people were jonesing. They were jonesing for this Diablo game. And when it finally came out, it had its fair share of issues, and then, with patches and shit like that to fix. But then, as people are in love with the series, they're in love with the lore. I don't know if it's so much that, but like just the mechanic. Really, what people wanted to play again, they wanted a new Diablo game. Like Diablo 2 was.
Yeah, new Diablo 2.
Yeah, so I think that's all.
Also
it was.
known as Diablo 3.
Yeah,
I
right.
thought that
Well,
was
I mean-
known as Titan's Quest.
Yeah, I mean, it's been...
That was my feeling.
I thought it was known as Dwarf Fortress. I thought that was.
Well, and we should set the record straight. This came out in 2012.
May
Yeah.
15th, 2012. Yes, excuse me.
So,
But-
I mean, everyone was jonesing for the new Diablo 2, right?
Yeah.
And we've gotten all of these. I mean, you mentioned Titan Quest, like that.
Yeah.
That came out, and people played the hell out of that,
Dungeon
as
Siege.
a substitute. Yeah, like
Yeah, that was a Torch. What was that?
Torchlight,
Torchlight. Yeah.
which was made by
Oh,
the
yeah.
people from Diablo 2.
Yeah, like everyone. Yeah.
Really?
We were
Was
like,
there?
to be honest,
Yep.
people were desperate for this type of game, and no one was
Yeah.
making it. And probably the weirdest thing, right?
Well, it was
like,
under development, you know.
no, but I mean, no one was making these style of games when like there was clearly like a market for it.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, like that was what was the most bizarre. It was like everyone was like almost like too afraid to make it one.
Well, and Titan Quest definitely like swooped in
Yeah.
and grabbed a lot of it. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, Titan Quest was great. Did you guys play Titan Quest?
About 190 hours.
Yeah, wow.
Jeez.
Right.
Sam.
Yeah.
I'd never even heard of Titan Quest. Okay, so the game came out. Everyone wanted it. Did it meet expectations? Like what happened? Because
I would say
I've heard it
that
get a
the
lot of hate lately.
expectations were so high that it was impossible to meet them, and then like
Yeah.
they came out with just not a good game. Like,
It
also.
was
You know
Yeah.
what? Hold on. I got a rebut to that, man. Duke Nukem 3 or Forever, that had expectations too high to ever meet. Diablo 3 just had to be Diablo 2 with better graphics. That's
It's
all they
true.
needed to do.
true,
All
and that's
right, I'll
all we
give 'em
wanted.
that,
Now,
yeah.
Duke
Yeah.
Nukem Forever was
Yeah.
And there were trolls
one of the
everywhere
shittiest
too,
games
man.
I've ever played in my life.
That was
Oh,
that
yeah.
was a troll.
He
That was
was.
a straight up troll.
Wouldn't you say though that like this is probably the first Diablo 3 when it came out? It was like kind of the first Blizzard game that kind of just bummed you out when you played it instead
Yeah,
of like
it wasn't
making you
there.
amazed.
It was. I mean, it was fun, and like I
A little
and
bit.
Gobi, like you and I were
Yeah.
a part of the group in Korea that
Yeah.
we played the hell. We ignored our girlfriends, and
Oh, yeah.
we had this whole group of people that were just constantly in perpetual trouble with their girlfriends for like 2 months.
I think this
Yeah.
game
This
ended a
game.
lot of relationships, actually.
Yeah, I mean that's fair
It's
to
ending
say.
mine right now, currently. So
It's still
This
going
very
strong.
second.
she's downstairs and nodding her head in disapproval.
Oh, no. Not ended. Bleep that out.
Thanks, Chico. Awesome.
There you go. So okay, so
Awesome.
what's the fucking problem with it? What was wrong? You said it's like
Dude,
it
he's
filled
rubbing
you with
up. He's rubbing
regret
up.
and disappointment. What? Just because
Yeah,
This
it was
wasn't
not-
Diablo 2.
it
It
was
wasn't
that was
good.
it?
Like that was the
It
thing.
wasn't
It's just-
Diablo.
well, the thing
2?
was is like
It's exactly what I said, man. Diablo 3 only had to be out Diablo 2 with better graphics. That's
But-
all they needed to do, and they failed miserably at it.
yeah, what instead we got was like this thing that was almost like a neutered version of Diablo 2.
Oh, well
And-
put. Yeah.
Yeah, and it
okay.
there was like they took away things. Like I understood what they were trying to go for, but they failed completely. Like they were trying to get a game that like first of all you would play, right? Because in Diablo 2 you didn't really play
First of all,
Diablo 2.
you'd actually play it.
You just played like one scene over and over again. Like you just did Bale runs or Mephisto runs, right? Like that wasn't really playing a game.
Mhm.
Like I'm one of the guys who, although I played Diablo 2, I don't really think it was a good game. Like I don't know why people.
It
I didn't
wasn't
like
what they did.
Diablo
as
2,
amazing as
but I-
everybody like.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I came to Diablo 2 way too late, so like
Yeah.
I was like, these graphics suck, and quite honestly, other games have done this better already.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
fun. It's definitely a fun game, and it's definitely addicting. And like, I did have my time with Diablo 2,
Yeah.
but the magic was just totally missing in D3. And
Mm.
I don't know. It was really hard to put your finger on like what was missing, and like it's still hard for me to put my finger on
Yeah.
what, because there are still a few things missing in this game, even though they've released this patch. But we'll get to that later.
I
Yeah.
think honestly,
mean-
like it's just got so monetized, like with the advent of like the real money auction
The
house,
auction
like
house,
they
yeah.
really just turned it into just this farming session. And if like there was, I don't know, the story
Well-
is cool, the lore is awesome, but it just became secondary among like not even primary. It's like no one really gave a shit about the story,
Okay,
And I don't.
well-
I mean, like I'm speaking as a noob here. Like I never played D2. I was like, oh yeah, D3, this is pretty cool. Like my friends were playing it. I finally had a PC that could run something, relatively cool. And then it's just like my buddy was just selling his wares on eBay all the time, all that shit he was getting and looting and farming. And I was like, wow, that is the game. It's this grind fest.
Well, I
That's
mean,
what it
it
becomes.
That's what the
traditionally
game.
is.
That's
Like,
what the
that's
game
what-
Yeah.
traditionally is, though.
It's the
Yeah.
hoarding version of EVE Online.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and this is what all these look at Blizzard's look at Blizzard's game structure. This is how what it's designed
Yeah.
around.
It's
Making
devious.
money aside from it's brilliant is what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, they
I
know
don't-
what they're doing.
The thing
Clearly.
is, I think like the thing with Diablo 2 was that these sort of things that you're complaining about were already happening, but Blizzard had no control over them. Like
Exactly.
Mm.
there were places where you could sell and buy gear in Diablo 2, and it was quite common actually.
Yeah,
So
I was aware of the
what
market.
the real money auction house, it was this idea that they were basically going to try to they acknowledged that
Okay,
stuff
wait,
happened, and they were trying to
hold
make it
on.
less shady.
So explain to me this idea of the real world auction system. What does that mean in essence? Like, how is that different from what people were doing before? Korean kids being
I would
farming
argue
out.
Well, now
nothing,
Blizzard
but
got a cut.
yeah, now
Now
Blizzard gets a
Blizzard
cut
could
out of it.
control it. It could be,
Yeah,
and it
it was
also
a
made it
smart
safe
move.
for the gamer, right? It made it safe. Like I knew I was going to get my item, or I knew I was going to like get my money when I spent my
Yeah,
real money
it
to
was
get
the
that.
right move.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was. I mean, it was totally a smart business move, but it just totally changed the game. It totally changed like what I was doing in the game and like why I played the game. And if anybody has played a game for work, or like if you've ever reviewed a game or you've ever been in that world at all, it is very, very easy to step into that line of like, oh my God, I'm playing this game for work. This is no longer fun. Like I'm just grinding. Like, and it's a fine line. I feel like a lot of games balance with, but this to me, like I got that feeling. I was like, oh my God, like I'm playing this game and I just feel like I'm working and not getting anywhere.
Yeah.
Okay.
And not
Well,
that like
chasing,
I
dude.
tried to sell stuff.
End game ends up being like you're chasing those drop rates. That's for everything. It's just like
Exactly, and
I
that was part of the
need
problem.
that thing. I need that. It's this weird kind of social experiment. It's like, would I grind for that item or do I just buy it? With my gold, do I just farm gold? Oh wait, look, I could buy it. It just added this element. Wait, I could buy it on the real money auction house. Like I mean, this stuff is everybody knows this is going on. You mentioned it before, Gobi. It happened in D2, but like as a new player to this experience, where it's like that's very much the ends of the game. You know what I mean? That's the point of the game.
Yeah.
Well, and they made it too easy. Like beforehand on D2, I just didn't want to buy anything or like mess with the like the auction, the quote unquote auction houses that were set up, like the websites that were set up to facilitate transactions with D2, like with items and all of that. I just didn't want to mess with it. It was just like too much trouble. So when they made it easy, it was like, why even play the game when I could just spend some money? It became a pay to play almost. Like,
So this is sounding like the same argument you guys are having versus pay to play. It's like, why play the game when you can buy it? Is that how it kind of feels a little bit?
Yeah, that's basically how it felt. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
it became that, and it became like, why grind for money? Why grind for gear when I can just go in the auction house, click, and buy it, and then I have it. And then there's like, what's the point of the game? Like, why even play it?
I mean, I guess trying to clear those obscenely hard difficulty levels, and those which ends up being
I
end
think
game
Dark
always ends up
Souls
being...
already has that market though.
yeah, right.
When it comes to being bumfucked by a game, I think Dark Souls has that.
Well, that's less about like grinding for gear. That's more like learning and there's satisfaction and
okay. So wait, I'm curious.
Skills
I'm curious now. Let's get back onto the difficulty of the game, because I've heard lots of things that are saying that this game essentially is a kiddie walk through the park, and that if you really shouldn't die while playing it. Like, what is your guys' take on that? Like, is the game difficult? Is the game enjoyable?
It was. I mean, it depended on like where you put it. I mean, obviously, if you played a hardcore character, you had permadeath, and when you died, that was it. But as far as like the base game, and that was a challenge that Blizzard faced, right? And that's something that they tried to address, was how do we make you dying mean something? And obviously, what's the first thing you can think of? Well, let's make it cost a lot of money so you don't want to die. But what that ended up doing was just pissing everybody off. Like that pissed me off. And you had these like, and just to put it in perspective, your repair bill prior to this patch was outrageous. It was like 90,000 gold sometimes, even more. Which is a lot of gold.
I didn't know that. Oh.
I mean, that's a lot of gold. So like, I mean, you just don't see 100 grand, 200 grand gold drops. Like that just doesn't, that's insane if you saw something like that. So 90,000 gold to die, and consistently you were paying like 30 to 50 to 60, and that just it just pissed everybody off. Like that's not how you solve that problem. I don't know. What did you guys think about that?
Have any of you actually done hardcore like in
I
any of
never
these
did.
type of games before?
I'm not into that.
No.
Yeah, well,
I don't have an opinion on it. Like,
I
I don't
played
know.
Path of Exile a lot actually, and I only played hardcore where I had never played hardcore before because, frankly, they did it in such a way that even if I died, I still felt like I was progressing just based on this really genius currency system they have in that game, and so it soon became you weren't playing a character anymore; you were playing almost like a stash because
You
you're
were
like,
playing a
well,
loot
I
stash.
died, but
Yeah.
I found all this stuff, and I can turn this into better items eventually if I can get past the hardest difficulty. And so even
Yeah.
if you were taking steps backwards, you're still taking steps forward. And so even though I was dying, I felt like I was getting better.
Yeah, and that's
And
important. And
yeah.
it comes down, that's a big thing with these games is like, what do you do with gold? Like, what purpose do you make
But in
gold
Diablo 2,
serve?
nothing. You did literally nothing with gold. And I think that really was something they wanted to address. Because I remember as a 14-year-old, I was getting all this gold, and gold, is really valuable, right? So I have
It's
like
gold.
2 million gold.
And you're 14, so you're like, yes.
Yeah, exactly. So I have all this
I
gold, and I'm
want
like, I go
gold.
to my buddy and go, so I have all this gold. What can I get with it? And he's like, well, you can nothing really. Like, and so it's like, and so when I,
He was
my
like,
thought
"Hey, what
was,
do you want, man?
why is
Well,
this
'cause
even
you
in the
can't get
game? Like, and so they were trying to address that problem because, frankly, in Diablo 2, that game, like, gold was a waste of programming. Like, there was no reason to have it in there at all.
Wow.
Okay, so in Diablo 3, does the gold have any more use?
It's,
Well-
I would say, the most useful.
It's-
Oh wow.
Yeah, well,
And it
before,
became-
while the auction house was happening anyway.
Right. And so that brings us to our next thing is like they're shutting the auction house down here like next week or on the 18th, on March 18th, the auction house is shutting down. So that's like an entire portion of the game that is just going away. And so it still begs that question, like, what do we do with gold now? Okay, so in this patch, they made the repair bills actually like practical. So now if I, really get my gear down, I'm only paying like 20 to 30,000, but consistently paying like, 10,000, 15,000 to repair, which is practical. Like I'm good with that. That's what it
Yeah.
should have been. But like, what do you do with gold now? What are we going to do with it? I'm not
They're
going
gonna
to use it
add
to buy
something
stuff
in
on the
Reaper of
auction
Souls,
house.
I guarantee you.
God, I just died.
That I've
That's
seen
okay.
it.
2
I've
seconds.
actually watched a couple of beta streams, and what they're doing is they're going to add a new artisan,
Right?
and it's going to be an enchantress or something like that. And basically, you can change the properties of your magical or rare items
Right.
with this gold. So you can look at your item, and let's say it gives you 500 strength. Well, for 1 million gold, you can make it 550, and then for 2 million, you can make it 600. I think that's what their plan is that
Yeah. What
you're going to
gold's-
find good items, and then you're going to use your gold to make them better.
So buffs instead of
And-
brand new items.
Yeah, so you still have to find it, but you can use gold, like real money, and actually make them better. So so basically, much like real life, when you have a lot of money, you get to have even better stuff.
This just became capitalism in the game.
It's-
Yeah, yeah.
Well, yeah, we were
Dude,
talking about that,
that's
right?
what it is, man.
America.
You're getting the items and then using them and
Yeah.
Okay,
Which
well,
I think is fine. It's fine.
Okay, I mean, well, let's keep going.
So-
So they're removing the auction house. What else is going on?
So, okay,
Is that
so
like-
they're removing the auction house, and they've also added. So that's the entire like argument that we're making behind the auction house, and they were saying that, Diablo 3 didn't have the best part of Diablo, which was acquiring epic loot and finding epic drops. And when something like legendary drops, you're like, oh my god, I got a leg, instead of just going on the auction house and then buying a bunch of legendary gear, now you care. Now you care. So they came out with Loot 2.0. So the auction house is going away and Loot 2.0 has already been implemented. And basically what Loot 2.0 has done has totally reworked the drop rates for everybody. So now you're seeing a lot more legendaries. You're seeing a lot more gear that's actually useful to you,
Yeah, that was the first thing when I started playing again that kind of blew my mind. Was like, wow, I just remember buying these like really insane fists that cost a lot of money for my monk, and then like right off the bat, as I, started playing for like the first 10 minutes of gameplay.
Okay.
Where'd he go?
I think we just lost Tumult, but keep going.
No,
Yeah.
I'm here. Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry. I don't know what that was. So I just got
Yeah.
to the first mid boss, like the witch. You have to kill the witch, the first boss basically of the game. And like I had like already a legendary ring. I had like
Yeah.
automatically my gear was better, and like I don't know what happened. It was just like, come on. That's what I was thinking. It was like I spent so long trying to plan how I'm gonna spend my gold, how I'm gonna like what kind of character build I want to have. Look at the kind of move set, and then like these new items come out specific to my monk. That's like if you wear this, you'll get 15% more crit rate on this specific move, and I'm like, that's a lot of percent. I have not seen that much percent. Like on.
Do you feel
something.
like you wasted your time playing before though?
I was gonna ask that to longtime players. Like I was not,
Yeah.
you saw me. I'm like Paragon level. I just made Paragon level 10, but like seeing other guys are like Paragon level 90. I feel like they would rage
Yeah.
at like this
Well, and so-
nerfing of all this time and energy they put in the game. I mean, did they have? I don't know. That's
Absolutely. and
yeah.
and so my friend Ryan, he's not Dice. Dice is not my
Who is this Ryan?
And-
Why are you referring to him with me? I have no idea what
He,
you're talking about,
he-
sir.
I love you. I love you, Dice. You are my friend.
Keep going.
And he is one of those players, and like I've played a lot with him. Like I'm Paragon level 40 now, but him and I both put a lot of hours in the game. He's put in like double the hours, and
Yeah.
he spent a lot of time, getting the gear that he needed to be a hardcore player. And
Yeah.
now it's all
that
nerfed.
commitment.
Yeah, it's all been nerfed. All of his gear is shit. He was upset at first, but then we started finding like good items. Like we started seeing items that were worth a damn, and they started
Yeah.
dropping. We felt like beforehand, it felt like you put all this work into it.
Yeah.
You grind it away, and you just never. It was just a complete crapshoot whether or not you were going to see something remotely good. Like you had to invest so much time beforehand to see anything remotely good if you weren't playing on the auction house. And him and I made a very distinct point to not buy things on the auction house because we felt like that ruined the game, like going on there and just buying the gear instead of like looking for it. But
Wow.
now that they've like, quote, nerfed the old gear, he was upset at first, but I mean, really not anymore. Now
Because he got
he's-
what he wanted. Right?
Yeah, we're getting like epic stuff now, and we feel like our time isn't wasted.
I actually remember you were playing last night, Chiko, and I heard you were like, "Oh, I got a leg," and I was like,
'Cause-
"You got a turkey leg?" And you were like, "No, I got a legendary item," and like just that instant gratification. It definitely sounds like that has come back. I'm
Yeah.
having no idea, but it seems like just the random shouting of victory seems to be pretty evidence enough to keep playing it.
Exactly, and that's what they want, and that's what this game needs is like that excitement when you do see a legendary item, and like the thought that yes, this is not just going to be shit. Like I will actually get to use this item, and it's actually going to help me.
So here's a question I have though. So in doing this, okay, so they fixed this horrible problem. Why are they spending the time fixing a game that's over a year old?
Because,
So-
good friend, they're coming out with an expansion in about a week.
This is a Blizzard
Oh.
game. It stays
Yeah.
relevant for like 20 years.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah,
gonna
I don't
keep it that
know.
way.
That's another interesting thing. So what is it about Blizzard fans where they spend $40 on a game and they expect 500 hours of entertainment, where other people, they buy another game for $40 and they just know that this game's going to run its course in the normal amount of time that most games do. But it's almost like people are entitled when they buy a Blizzard game to be like, well, this is now my new hobby. Like, why?
Yeah.
Why
What
is
do you
that,
guys?
think?
What do
I
you
mean,
guys
they
think?
very
Why
much
do they stay?
created that player
Yeah.
base. I mean, that's I don't know. That they made the monster when they made the game.
Yeah.
They listened to the people.
Well,
did
they
what
still
wanted,
update. They still update Diablo 2. I remember.
Yeah. Right.
Do they
people
really?
are playing Path of Exile and they're like, "Oh, Diablo 2's ladder is gonna reset. Are you thinking about coming back?" And everyone's like, "Yeah, probably drop by for a little bit."
What?
Yeah,
Are
That
you
was baffling to me.
serious?
Like, how
Well, no,
old
that's
is
what
this
it
game?
is, dude. It's
Yeah,
like
I am dead
dude.
serious. Like, people are playing Path of Exile, which is an excellent game, and
Great game.
they basically were taking weeks off because the Diablo 2 ladder had reset, and they wanted to get their hardcore characters up to like level 90 before everyone else.
Diablo 2 came out
It's,
in
it's
but
like a
that's
drug,
awesome.
man.
in 2000,
Yeah.
14 years ago, and people
14-year-old
still want to go
game.
back and play it.
And this,
Jesus Christ.
dude, there's a lot of people. So on the
Yeah.
other hand of all of this, there are those players that have invested countless hours into this, and I know one of them, and her entire goal in this game was the auction house. Her entire
Wow.
goal was that, like, working really
Yeah,
hard,
people
spending
just
a lot of
play
hours
the auction house. Like
Exactly,
that's a
to-
mechanic.
to put,
Oh
and
my
and Blizzard
God.
knows that, and Blizzard
Yeah.
perfected it with WoW, and
Yeah.
she's going to quit playing this, and she's going back to Diablo 2 because
Yeah.
they're closing the auction house, and she feels like that's the only mechanic in the game. Like, for her, that is why she played, was to, like, make money on the auction house. And now
I've known
that's going
plenty of
away.
people who use these games as almost like entrepreneurial. Like,
Yeah,
You know,
they
they
make
light.
money.
These
Yeah.
guys know there is a real stock market that you can actually play and win real money in, right? They know that, right?
Well, dude, they've done. I don't. Sorry, it happened again. Like MMO economies, like they've done studies and things like that on, people. Oh, sorry, they just fucking fucked me up. Yeah, I killed it. But no. Yeah, Dice, you were asking, can I concentrate and do the podcast? No, the answer
No,
is
this
no.
is good.
So,
This is good. I approve. Go on.
So, but no,
Keep
yeah, they've
going.
done studies on, like, you can actually study MMO economies. They've done this with EVE Online, and then, like, we've all heard of this, and then kind of make conclusions about the real economy and real money. I think the core feelings you get when you play the auction house trying to get that loot, it's like it's gambling in a weird way. It's like you're gambling.
It
You're
is.
messing with the time and energy put into something, and if
And it's
anything,
addicting.
yes, it's extremely addictive. Where it's like,
So-
wow, this is.
So why do you? Okay, so I want to go down the list and find out like why you guys like let's assume you guys. I see you guys weren't happy with the first build, and now obviously you're playing it this very second. So what is the draw of the game? Why do you play Chiko? Why do you play Diablo 3?
I played Diablo 3 because lasers.
I certainly
If you-
see lots
if
of
you're
them,
watching-
and this
Yeah.
is a game in
Go.
medieval, and it's magic, and I'm like, why are there so many lasers?
There's so many goddamn lasers, man.
I'm a
Dude,
magic guy. I
so,
have
like,
lasers. It's okay.
Diablo-
It's fine. It's normal.
Diablo 3 fills that MMO niche in my life. Like, I think as gamers, like, we all like those certain niches filled by certain games. And for me, like, I don't have the time to put into a traditional MMO like WoW or whatever. And Diablo 3 is an easy way to fill that space in my life. And now that they have revamped the loot system and revamped, we haven't even talked about the Paragon system yet.
Yeah.
And
Okay, we'll
all of the
get
other
on that.
mechanics
I'm
they've
curious about
reworked.
that. Okay.
Well, yeah. But I play it because it is an easy way to jump in, do a dungeon, do a key warden run, whatever, and get out and get on with my life. But it's addicting enough for me in that way, and I don't know. I get my MMO fulfillment from.
You get your
from
rocks
that.
off?
I
Is
get
that
my
it?
rocks off. I get my MMO rocks off with D3. Why? Okay, moving on. Let's.
Clearly
Gobi,
a
why do
PG-13
you play?
podcast. Gobi, why do you play?
Man, I wish I had something more profound to say because you stole it. But I would say, frankly, it's because it's that one thing where it's the treadmill, right? You want to keep going and you want to keep improving, and it makes you feel good about yourself, right? When you get a legendary, you feel really good about yourself, and
Yeah.
Some people will say don't
Excuse me.
have that kind of thing in their life, and I think that's kind of the appeal of Diablo 3 is that you are always getting better, and when you find something, you have you can actually sum up, what did I do today? Well, I found a legendary that improved my DPS by 20%. That's what I did. And it feels good. The idea of progression or advancing or just accomplishing something, right? In a lot of games, they do that, but not as well as Diablo 3 does. or any Diablo game for that matter.
It's
Tumult?
loot, man. I'm playing
Yeah.
for loot. Go ahead. Yeah, Tumult. What do you play?
I mean, I'll be honest. You know me, Chico. You know that like I was never into like the Western RPG. I really played for my friends. Like I enjoyed playing with our buddy Ben, and then Chico, and then Ryan when I did for that as little time, not Dice.
I am not Ryan. Who is this Ryan you speak of?
But yeah, I mean, it was really for my friends and kind of just playing a game together. And a lot of time, I wrote an article that I think will be posted relatively soon on how like I was almost out of gaming. Like it was all kind of the same to me. Like Diablo 3 is just like another iteration of just kind of like how to monetize, get people to play, another kind of achievement sim. I don't know, but like, hey, my buddies are playing it and they were having fun, and it was like a way to spend time with my friends because like I was living in Boston and like all my buddies, we were far away, and I was like, hey, we can still play games together, and
Exactly.
That's really why I started playing it. But about that MMO Rocksoft kind of thing, like I didn't think of it that way, but yeah, I mean, I play a lot of 14, and like that thing that you said about achievement, Gobi, and that thing that you said about getting those MMO Rocksoft, running a dungeon, all of those feelings I get with 14. Where it's just like, for me, it's just like I play Diablo 3 for my friends, where I could have played this game easily, but maybe it was just aesthetic, It was just like, I just not into the Western kind of dark kind of games, I needed more of a, I guess like a lighter feel, a little bit more...
Or kawaii?
I don't know, I can't explain it very well, but yeah, I mean, I think 14 more is like, those are all like the residual things. For 14, it's like, I love Final Fantasy. I'm a Final Fantasy nerd. I'm in a Final Fantasy universe being my own character. I think that's what it is for me. Where it's like, wow, I am there. This is my Chocobo. And, with, like, I am a black mage. I'm not training this black mage, like, in my... Exactly. You are that thing. But I don't know if that comes off in Diablo 3. I think this is way more of a, like Gobi said, kind of an achievement-based, item-based kind of thing, where it's like, it's a little bit more external.
And don't you think in MMOs, like, the society is a lot more simple than real life, because you can look at someone and you can tell, like, where they are in society, right? Like, if this guy has, like, all the top gear, you're like, oh, this guy's doing very well for himself, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I agree.
And you want to associate yourself with them, like, almost immediately.
Yeah, it's like, man, how did he get all that gear? How was he able to...
Yeah.
And, like, leadership, dude. I'm in a free company, and it's like, leadership's a big deal. Those are leadership skills that are being used, like, in an MMO, Like, that's a real-world application, I think.
Yeah, how hard is it to herd, like, 20 people, like,
exactly.
on, like, via Skype? Like, oh my god.
Exactly, yeah.
Jesus
it's
Christ.
incredibly hard.
So bringing it back to D3,
that's
that's something else that they've added is a clan system and a community system in the new patch, which is awesome.
Legendary shield.
Oh, you got a leg?
Yeah.
Nice.
See, and that's the feeling I was talking about. Keep going.
That's what we need. Yeah. No, so they've implemented clans and communities in this game, which is great, and it's like it's just another element. So they've added all of these new elements in preparation for Reaper of Souls coming out, which is going to add a new class, the Crusader, and it's going to add Act 5. So there's going to be like new content to play through. But also we should add, I just want to say this, right now it's 50% XP bonus for you guys. Right. I don't know if you've noticed that.
Yep.
which is great. But so let's talk about the Paragon system. Like, so
I was going to ask about that. What's going on with that?
I'm actually looking at it right now.
What is the Paragon system? And like very briefly, and then keep going and say what's going on with it.
Okay, so here's what D3 did to before this patch to like add more gameplay. They came out with the Paragon system that once you hit 60, which is the highest level, you start working on your Paragon points. Now, before this patch, you could only get up to 99, I believe, level 99 Paragon. And so each level of Paragon, it adds to each one of your stats, just a little. But so by the time you reached level 99, you had a really rocking character. You were feasibly like level, I don't know, 90 or something. I mean, to put it into
you were pretty
like
OP,
that. You were pretty OP. You're pretty awesome.
Yeah,
Um,
but the downside to that was like, what was the difference between your level 50 Paragon and someone else's?
Yeah,
Like,
like
nothing, right?
Yeah.
Like no, well, I don't. Okay, so prior to this patch, like everything was a mess. Balancing was a
Yeah.
mess. Like the monk class was just practically unplayable. It was so stupid. Like I could run into something, like a mob of people, and just get annihilated because I had nothing. I had nothing like the other classes had, and I mean, really, like we were really underpowered monks. But a
Yeah.
barbarian could run in, and just on a side note, uh, the dude who's like in charge of like balancing and
He's a barbarian.
he's
we
a
know. We
barbarian. Yeah, he
know.
loves barbarians. But so now the Paragon, what they've done is
Elitism.
your
Well, what was it like
progress.
before? Why did you get Paragon levels? Like, what was the bonus?
Well,
The
so you could
loot
also
bonus. Like
yeah, well, you could up the difficulty, which also up the loot bonus. Yeah,
Yeah.
upped like your drops.
Well,
It was an
wasn't it
innate-
like whenever you gained a Paragon level, you got more Magic Find and Gold Find or something?
Exactly,
Like that?
magic,
Yeah.
magic find and gold find, yeah, which was
Yeah.
huge. Which is actually, I mean, it's still in the game, but it's not like a huge focus anymore. And now it's controlled by the new difficulty levels. But
Yeah.
I mean, that was the entire idea, was to like be able to provide that extra gameplay and that extra level of difficulty that everybody could run through with Paragon levels. But now the Paragon levels affect all, and it only affected one character. But now
Yeah.
your Paragon levels affect all your characters. So if I, like for instance, my monk is a level 42 Paragon, those 42 Paragon points I can use on all of my characters and buff all kinds of stats. I mean, now you also get to decide now what gets buffed. So you have like core stuff like dexterity,
Yeah.
vitality, movement speed, a maximum spirit, and then you have offense, which has like attack speed, cooldown reduction, critical hit chance, critical hit damage. Then you have defense, which is like life, armor, resist all, life regeneration, and utility, area damage, life on hit, like that kind of stuff. And you get to control what you update. So that's the new Paragon system in a nutshell.
And,
what do you guys think?
Yeah, me doing some casual math, because all these categories have like 50 points you can put them into, which is crazy. That's like 2,000 levels of Paragon, maybe, if you want to max
We're like
everything.
Super Saiyan level 5, man.
And I don't think there's a cap on these Paragon levels now.
Yeah.
So you could just keep going.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think I haven't read a cap.
There's no end.
Yeah. Well,
Yes,
from what I saw, maybe 2,000 is, but maybe.
Yeah,
But
I
so,
think
okay.
Doesn't.
Do you think this is a
And-
good change for people who've actually played this? Is this like is this a positive?
I love it. I think it's great. Like I like being able to control my Paragon points. I love that like the work I do on my monk, I can carry that forward to my other characters. I think it's a great system, and I'm really pleased with everything that they've implemented.
I mean,
But
it
Well-
definitely adds that personalization to your characters, which isn't available, I think, in the game. You know, well, I mean, it is. What am I talking about? But like, you can affect your own stats as opposed to like a rotation of moves that you use. You know, because everyone has the same rotation of moves. You know, but now you can, I guess, personalize your character in a way. In my opinion, it's less about personalizing and more like, well, how am I going to screw this up? It's like I have a month that's like,
But
I put it all in
thankfully-
dexterity. That's what he wanted, right? Or like I put all my stats in accuracy. That'll work, right? Where it's like the most useless thing. Where I don't know. That's how I see it because I always screw up. On
Well,
those- on
and
those
so
kind
that
of
in mind, these Paragon points are not permanent. Like,
Yeah,
you
right.
you can change them on the
respec,
fly, just like your skill set, right?
Totes.
Which is great. Like that level of permanence is never. I don't like it in games. Like I don't like. being
Yeah, I
locked
don't
into
think
a
that's a good
decision.
idea at all. I thought that was the worst part of Diablo 2, actually. And
Really?
yeah, was the idea that, well, so in your mind you're like, okay, I'm gonna make this special snowflake build. I'm gonna be a genius. I'm gonna make a character how I want. But here's how it is in reality. So I had
Yeah.
a sorceress, and I needed
She was
her
hot.
to be good in that
Sandbags.
late game. And you know how the only way I could do that was having my friend run me all the way from level 1 to like level 60, because I couldn't use any points to kill anything. I had to save all my points so that I could maximize my build in a way that where I could actually do the late game.
We tried to kill him.
I think for the first 25 levels or 30 levels, I didn't spend a single point.
No.
Huh.
And
'Cause you don't wanna
well,
screw up.
You don't wanna screw
that's
it
not
up.
what you had to do with sorceresses. and I didn't think that was fun.
It's not fun.
No.
I don't like decisions, and I don't like permanent decisions.
Yeah.
That's why I don't have a tattoo. That's
Yep.
That's why I have 5.
I need some change in my life.
Yeah. Well, here's
like
the thing,
commitment.
though. So, is this Diablo still, though?
Ooh.
Because what is one of the core things that is about Diablo is you do normal, you do nightmare, and then you do hell, right?
Yeah.
And now they got rid of that completely.
I mean, you still have those difficulty systems.
Yeah.
And
I think
you
at
gotta
its
work through 'em.
core, I feel like Blizzard and Diablo is like the West's answer to like grindy JRPGs in this weird way.
Sure.
I feel like it's like,
I see
hey,
that.
we can do it too, and like you'll
Yeah.
like it, you know, and you will love it.
You have no choice.
Yeah, and you know we do, and like the world does. You know,
Yeah.
Blizzard shows how successful they are. I mean, I don't know if that answered your question, but I think more of a kind of a social aspect, a more, I guess, kind of a, not a deeper, but more general answer to that. It's like I think that's what Diablo is, and possibly Blizzard. You know, like that's Blizzard is our. You know, what other gaming company, Western gaming company, has been successful overseas? You know, I can't think of many.
Yeah, not many.
So
Huge.
maybe
Hugely
we should bring it to an end and get our last thoughts. So
All right, yeah.
you wanna?
I want to know. Okay, so give me it very quickly. I'll give you maybe, let's say, 30 seconds. I want you to tell me what you think about the game before, what you think about it now, and why people should play it or come back to it. So we'll make that our 30-second closing, and then we've got Sam in the background who's been hearing all of this. I don't know
We'll hear.
if he's actually paying attention, if he's just playing the Binding of Isaac, which he probably is. And I want to get his. I'm going to give him a minute, and I want to hear his take on this, whether he feels like playing it and if he thinks this is interesting. Because
So maybe our final thoughts
Final-
here could be the
final
pitch.
thought.
The
pitch.
30-second elevator
30
pitch
second
to
pitch.
Sam.
All right.
There you go.
I'll do
And
it.
Sam is very pessimistic when it comes to games. I've given him games and he's wanted to give them back to me on Steam. So
Jeez.
you guys have your work cut out for you. I want to start with I'm going to go reverse. We're going to start with Tumult.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you 30 seconds. Pitch it to Sam. Go.
All right, Sam. I need you to listen to me. Are you listening?
Listening.
You can play the game with one hand. No joke. You can play the game with one hand. I know what happened to your hand, and I know what you like to do with your hands. Okay. Also, Chiko and I play.
10
and,
seconds.
You know, we're pretty cool. And it's got a bunch of titties. Like, just so many titties. Like, just ridiculous,
So much.
copious amounts of titties. I'm lying. But come on, the delivery was good, right?
That
Okay,
was
so
better
that's-
than anything I thought anyone was gonna
You
say.
can play the game with one hand.
God.
Okay, so that was
Good
that
luck,
was,
bitches.
That was a great. I don't think anyone can top that. All right, Gobi,
Can we-
you've got.
Jeez. Good luck.
Gobi,
Well,
go.
I'm gonna throw you a
30 seconds.
curveball here and say
Gobi, make us more
don't
serious, please.
don't play it. Actually, if you never liked Diablo, there's nothing in this game that's gonna change your mind. But if you like Diablo and had a good time with it, you're going to see a lot of things that you'll like. But it is not reinventing the wheel. It's not making this genre a lot more accessible. It's just more of the same, and that's kind of a good thing at this point.
But it works. Sorry.
Yeah, it works. Which
One hand.
yeah. So if you like Diablo 3 or wanted to, it works now.
Uno manos.
Okay, there we go. Okay, so it works. That's Gobi's pitch. All
Yep.
right, Chiko, you've got 30 seconds. Make it count.
Knowing that you played Titan Quest for that long, I don't know what you liked about Titan Quest, but I can tell you that they're getting closer to Diablo 2 with this game. Like with the new system, the auction house is going away, so you're not just like going to be grinding for the auction house. You're going to be actually like discovering awesome loot and getting excited about it. It's
5
a great time to
seconds.
get into it right now, just because they have like the new expansion coming out, the Loot 2.0, boobs,
One
one
hand.
hand.
And your time's done. All right,
I'm gonna
so
put an asterisk at the end of that caveat. Not a lot of titties.
All right, so Sam, you've hopefully not been playing the Binding of Isaac this whole time. So I'm curious
No,
to
I
hear
haven't.
what your take is on this. Final words. 1 minute. Go.
All right, so here's the deal. That's nice that they fixed a broken game. Path of Exile did that when they released their game and they made it work.
Oh.
Why would you
I agree.
pay? Why would you pay money for a game that was broken and they're kind of fixing when you could play Path of Exile for free and know that it works? 100% slap down. I mean, there's just no point. They should have made a new game. On top of the problem
Dude,
that
it's
Path
Blizzard.
of Exile,
They're not gonna make a new game.
they should have made it.
You know how long it took
I
them
mean,
to make
I
this
will give-
game?
I will give them credit for scrapping the auction house because I do think that was a travesty. That's why I didn't even look at Diablo 3. So after I read a little bit about it, I was like, this sounds really dumb. But the thing is the game's a year old. The only people who are going to care about a expansion coming out for it are people who are already playing it.
Sure,
And that's
yeah.
a pathetically small audience compared to what they wanted. You know?
God.
Oh
wow.
And to top it off, this whole Loot 2.0 system came out right around the same time that Path of Exile's first major content patch came out, which
Yeah.
is for free, by the way. Yeah.
Exactly.
So,
Wow.
Wow.
You know, I
yeah.
played
All
about
right.
30, 40 hours of Path of Exile for free. And the
Yeah.
game was everything I wanted it to be.
That's
I
a
could have
great game.
used a little more storyline, but you know what? I don't play action RPGs for storyline.
And they know that.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly,
right.
and
Which
that's
is why
that's
the door
Diablo.
is
And
not obtrusive as well,
you know,
at all.
and I don't want to end on titties. That's not fair.
Yeah.
Let's end on masturbation. One hand.
Was it-
Sam, one hand.
So I will say, like,
I
if
can
you
play
were-
Path of Exile with one hand. I mean, it's still the same thing.
It's easier
Wow.
than Path of Exile. That's all I'm saying. It's easier.
it is easier, but I will say that, like, if you were thinking about getting into Diablo 3, obviously Sam, you weren't, you kind of made up your mind, but if you were thinking about getting into D3, this is a really good time to get into it.
And that, from what you guys talked about, like a lot of the issues I had with it that made me just go, I'm not even going to bother. It sounds like they're fixing, which, I mean, kudos to Blizzard for that. That's an honest thing to do. I just think from a marketing perspective, it's a huge waste of time. They should have just made a new.
All right,
You know
well-
what? They didn't even need to make a new game. They should have just made Diablo 4.5 or something. 3.5, whatever number
You're
they're
skipping
at.
a number there, buddy.
Yeah, the
Shut up,
Diabolo.
shut up.
The new Diablo game is actually like
Well,
set
this is
sticks,
basically
strings,
Diablo
and-
4. Reaper of Souls is
There we
basically
go.
Diablo 4.
There we go. All right,
Hopefully.
so there you go, guys. Diablo 3 has some new updates. They've removed the auction house. Seems like a solid game if you like it. If you don't, go play Path of Exile and quit your bitching. But to close out, we've been the Useless Gamers. My name is Dice. With us, we've had Chiko.
Yeah, I respect women.
He does. He does. He's a gentleman and a scholar. We've had Sam.
I really did try to return a game he gave me.
I was offended. We've had Gobi.
Pleasure.
Hopefully we'll have him on more often.
My
We liked
pleasure.
having you here today, dude. Good job.
Thanks.
And Tumult.
Pleasure beer.
God damn it! I died again. Oh yeah, I'm fine.
And we've been the Useless Gamers. Keep gaming, guys. Take it easy.